My brain, all I can think of is radio.
Hey y'all, Tom, ND3N here, and thanks for dropping by my ham shack in the spare room for a ham shack chat.
I just came in for a little chat.
I am still trying to come up with a more clever way of saying where my shack is now. This time I'm going to go through setting up your FT-991A for doing SSB Field Day operations. In this video, I'll be taking you through the settings I use for voice contesting, starting with the menu, then the function settings, the process of recording voice messages into the memory channel, and the messages that I would use for each of the 5 available messages. These use the built-in voice keyer, and it's very useful for when you need to send the same message over and over and over again.
Over and over and over again.
And helps your throat too. I'm using Field Day as an example. Think of it as a target of opportunity, but the same settings and methods I'm going to be showing you can be used for any voice contest, special operation stations, parks on the air, and so on. Only the messages will change, and what those messages are will be what best suits your circumstances. So, let's head over to the menu settings on your radio, and I'll show you which settings you want to set. I'll describe what they do and let you know what your options are. The selections I make may not be what you want. However, I will give you enough information so that you can make the settings that will be best for your style of operation.
What's on the menu, BMO?
The first setting we'll look at is menu item 010, which is your digital voice system, or DVS, receive output level. This sets the voice memory monitoring level and is adjustable from 0 to 100 with the default value of 50. This is the level of your recorded message that will play back through your headsets or radio speaker. You want to adjust this for a comfortable level, and I'd suggest leaving it at the default of 50. Next, we'll look at menu item 011, which is your DVS transmit output level, and it sets the microphone output level of your memory channels. It's also adjustable from 0 to 100 with a default value of 50. The microphone output level may be adjusted to the operator's own voice and preference. It may or may not be the same as your microphone output level, which is the mic gain on the functions menu. But I'd recommend setting it to the same value to begin with and adjusting as necessary. The good news with this is something that you will only have to do once, and when you have it, you'll never have to come back here and reset it again. Play with it until you find your appropriate setting. Obviously, for both your receive and transmit output levels, the higher the setting, the louder the output will be. Next, we're going to take a look at our SSB audio filters, and we're going to set them for a normal non-contest QSO, a RAGQ. Now these will be a wider band than you would normally use when you can expect a lot of people talking close together. Now, when we get to the function setting, and that's down the way a bit, I'll show you how to select the more narrow band receive settings that you'd want to use during contest or other busy times. We're going to go to menu item number 102, which is our SSB low cut frequency. The available values are off or 100 to 1000 Hertz at 50 Hertz increments. We're going to set this value to 300 Hertz. So we select it, use the multi-knob, get 300, and we hit enter. On menu item number 103, we will adjust the SSB low cut slope. And your two selections here are 6 dB per octave, and that will give you a very slow roll off, below whatever you set your low cut frequency, or 18 dB per octave, which will give you a more rapid roll off. I like using the slower roll off unless I'm looking for very sharp band edges. Menu item number 104 is your SSB high cut frequency, and number 105 is your SSB high cut slope. So let's just go ahead and get those up on the screen. There we go. Your high cut frequency has available values of off and then adjustable in 50 Hertz steps from 700 Hertz to 4000 Hertz. The high cut slope is the same as the low cut slope, except on the other side of the passband. We're going to set our high cut frequency to 4000. So we will select that, raise it up to 4000. There we go, and enter it. And the high cut slope to, we're going to keep that at 6 dB per octave. As long as we're here, let's take a look right at the bottom there at menu item 106, which is your SSB mic select. The default setting is mic, but you have the option to setting it to the rear. And we're going to just verify that it is in the mic setting, because that's what you're probably going to be using during field day. Before we move on, let's set up your display. Let's go to menu item 115, and the available options there are spectrum and waterfall. You want to set that to waterfall, and that will give you a good graphic display that shows you other QSOs close to you and helps you tune in or tune on to them, and shows you open space on the band where you can call CQ. Menu item 116 is your scope span frequencies, and it has available values of 50, 100, 200, 500, and 1000 kilohertz. The default setting is 100 kilohertz. Now, you'll be given different span options depending on the mode that you're in. And generally, you want the smallest span available, which will give you the best fidelity of your display. In this case, we're going to set the span to 50 kilohertz. All of the settings we just got done making are for the receive side. Next, we'll take a look at your transmit side.
So, where do I start?
Starting on menu item 110, which is the SSB transmit bandpass filter. And this will set the frequency characteristics of the DSP bandpass filter when transmitting in the SSB mode. The available values are 100 to 3000 Hertz, 100 to 2900 Hertz, 200 to 2800 Hertz, 300 to 2700 Hertz, and 400 to 2600 Hertz. The default value is 300 to 270 Hertz, which is a good one for a fairly busy channel, such as when you're working on a contest. If you're doing normal rag chew QSOs, then the 100 to 300 Hertz selection might be picked, but you get to pick whichever one you feel is best. Let's hop up to menu item 119, which starts the selections for the 3 band parametric microphone equalizers. There are 3 parametric equalizers, and each of them selects a center frequency, a level, and a width variation or Q setting. Recall that we have set, using our high cut and low cut frequency selections, a low frequency of 300 Hertz and a high frequency of 4000 Hertz. I've done a little back of the napkin figuring and estimated that our parametric equalizer 1 frequency range is going to be from 400 to 1000 Hertz. Equalizer 2 will be from 1000 to 1900 Hertz, and equalizer 3 is 1900 to 4000 Hertz. Generally, rule of thumb here, you want to suppress your lower frequencies emphasize your medium frequencies and pop your high frequencies. Your Q, or width variation bandwidth, should be balanced on all the different frequency bands. And I'm assuming that you're using the microphone that came with your FT-991A and have made my estimates based on that. However, everyone's voice is different, and as you're entering your parametric data, listen to your voice using the monitor function and adjust to where you think your voice sounds the best. Now I'm going to go ahead and set mine. Menu item 119, we're going set to 700 Hertz. We're going to set the equalizer level to a -5. And we're going to leave the bandwidth, or Q, at the default of 10. Moving to the mid-range, that starts at item number 122. So we will get right there. I want to set my equalizer center frequency to 1500. So I'm going to move that up, 1500, enter that. I want to set the gain to +10. So there's the gain, and we'll go +10. And I want to keep the equalizer Q to 10, the default. Now finally, for the high, we'll move down 3 more. And you can see it gives you the label. It's parametric equalizer frequency. And it's menu item 125. So I'm going to set that to 2900. And I'm going to set my level to 5. And I'm keeping the Q at the default of 10 on menu item 127. Now, menu item 128 and on, you'll notice they've appended a P to the front of it. That's for when you're setting up your voice processor. I am not a fan of speech processors, and I think it only makes your voice sound a lot worse and very annoying. Now, if you really want to sound like you're talking inside a tin can, go to the directions in your owner's manual and figure them out yourself.
Menu, function.
Now we're going to go into our functions menu and set things up there. And after that, I'll show you how to record and playback voice messages. We start by setting our break-in to off. And then we use our forward and back buttons and make sure that the Vox is off. Now we're going to move to this screen, and we're going to set our shift to 0 Hertz. There it is. No, there it is. And we're going to get out momentarily and find an active conversation. We'll go back into function, and we want to adjust our shift and width. We're setting our width, and you can see up here where the width is being indicated. And that sounds and looks pretty good. Keep in mind, we're looking at getting a readable voice with this narrow a bandwidth as we can possibly use. When the bands are busy and everyone is pushed together, by keeping things narrow, you'll get less adjacent channel interference. Of course, if you're doing a rag chew, you'll have more space to spread out, and you can use a larger bandwidth. We'll move over one more. And we want to set our wide narrow right up here in the corner to wide. And we can go between there and there. And you'll notice I'm going to just adjust this up to let's just adjust down to 1800. If you come back here, you'll see my width is now 1800. In order to record my voice into the channels, and you want to be on this screen where you have channels 1 through channel 5 and the MEM for memory button. In order to record my voice into the channels and to keep from accidentally transmitting, I usually plug my antenna output into this little dummy load. This is a diamond, so it's a good manufacturer. And I've included a link down in the video description in case you would like to pick one up for yourself. Since the dummy load is rated at 15 watts, I turn my power down, right down here, RF power, to 5 watts. So let me take a moment and reconfigure the setup. Now I'm ready to record my messages. Each message can be up to 20 seconds long, but you'll be surprised at how much information can be compressed into those 20 seconds. I'm going to give you a full description, step by step, on how this works, and then I will demo it for you. I'm only going to do channels 1 and 2, but I will include down in the video description what I would suggest for each one of these messages for field day. If you're doing another contest, you're going to have to figure out how you set it up, and of course you can mix things up. Now what I'm going to do is first I'm going to push my memory button. Then within 5 seconds I'm going to select the channel that I want to use, and it'll be channel 1. I'm going to just click it. I'm not going to hold it down, just a momentary press on the push to talk switch on your microphone. I'm going to record my message, then I'm going to push the MEM button to store it into memory. So I like to record my call sign phonetically, so let's go ahead and do that. And we'll put that in channel 1. You will notice some activity happening up here, and I'll mention that as I go. I push MEM, the record button starts to flash. I push channel 1. I'm going to click the push to talk button. You'll see the record button go solid. I will give my call sign phonetically, then I will push the MEM button. So here we go. Click. November, Delta, 3, November. And that's all there is. That message is now stored, and let me go ahead and play it back for you. Click. November, Delta, 3, November. Now usually I would re-record that because of stuff, but this time I'm going to record a CQ message. I'm not going to go through, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, just so that you can see how. And remember, this is going to go into memory channel 2. CQ Field Day, November, Delta, 3 November, ND3N, CQ. And let's play that back. CQ Field Day, November, Delta, 3 November, ND3N, CQ. Now I could go ahead and do all those other things, but you'll figure it out yourself. The best way to do is just play with it. It becomes second nature. And you can make changes on the fly as you go. I'm going to add the full text for all 5 memories that I could possibly want to use during field day. And of course, you're going to want to use your call sign, not mine. And you'll probably have a different exchange. So take my text and modify it to your own use. You'll note that at no time did I actually transmit, and my transmit indicator, which is located right here, can you see that? It's right up in here, never illuminated. In order to actually transmit your message, we're going to go back to the appropriate function screen. Remember, we have messages in channel 1 and 2. So we're going to go back to that first screen we were looking at. We're going to turn our break-in on. And then back to the channel screen. And let's go ahead and just play that CQ. Remember that I am plugged into a dummy load, so I'm not transmitting. But you'll see the red light come up here.
CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day, November Delta 3 November, ND3N, CQ.
And that's how you can pre-record voice messages on the FT-991A. Now, I believe that these same settings can be used on other Yaesu rigs, but as I have no experience with them, you're on your own if you want to try them with something other than the 991A. As I said in the beginning, you can also use this process with other voice-intensive operations like contesting, special events, stuff like that. If this has been helpful to you, please give me a like.
Please like me. Please.
By popping that thumbs up icon. Please share
What about sharing?
this message with friends in the FT-991A community, especially on social media. Please leave a comment
Now to leave a great comment.
down below. And finally, please consider subscribing
John doesn't subscribe to Chaos.
to this channel. Here's a video I did a while back, and it discusses other ways to reduce noise and interference, so you might want to take a look at it. 73 until the next Hey Y'all, I'm Tom, ND3N, and I am out.